I know that this might be a bit late for a review about Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but I wanted to fully process the movie because it's no secret that there was a lot of hype surrounding this movie. My interest in the Sonic franchise began after the filmmakers actually listened and fixed the original Sonic design.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
And all I have to say is, thank goodness, because the original design was a thing of nightmares. Despite only having a surface level amount of knowledge of the Sonic lore, I genuinely enjoyed the first movie, and the after credits scene had me ready for the sequel. Now, before I begin the review, I will provide a spoiler alert in case anyone who hasn't seen the movie wants to watch it with a chance to click away. For the most part, the movie is pretty well paced. The only exceptions would have to be the bar scene in Siberia and the wedding in Hawaii. While both scenes do serve a purpose, I will admit that they might have dragged on a bit longer than I wanted them to. But even then, they were still pretty entertaining. There was one scene with Eggman flossing, and I'm not gonna lie, I cringed pretty badly. But trust me, in the sense of having cringed in a movie, it could be a lot worse. I do wish that they would use actual music from the Sonic video games, which probably has to be my biggest issue with the movie. Whether or not its critique is still up for debate, I am concerned about how well the pop culture references will age. However, I fully admit that I busted out laughing when Sonic referenced Vin Diesel and The Rock's rivalry and laughed way longer than most people in the theater. I also love the Parks and Rec reference as well, and I like how it's implemented in the movie and is still enjoyable without having the full knowledge of where the line came from. There is one other thing that I'm on the fence about, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The CGI for the most part is really good, and the character designs for Tails and Knuckles are great alongside Sonic. I think it's important to acknowledge that the voice acting in this movie is fantastic. Ben Schwartz continues to have a great voice performance as Sonic. I'm really glad that they got a talented voice actor in Colin O'Shaughnessy as Tails, and considering that she has voiced Sonic's best friend in the past, she's a perfect casting choice. While I know there is an understandable annoyance with the trend of casting A-list actors to do voice acting, I knew Idris Elba nailed it as Knuckles the moment I first heard him speak in the first trailer.
Do I look like I need your power?
The majority of the human characters take on secondary roles, which makes sense when you introduce two more established characters from the video games and shows into the movie franchise. After all, this movie is about Sonic the Hedgehog. However, the humans do get to have their moments to shine. Tom, Donut Lord, whichever name you want to use, is still treated as a proper character who has a huge influence on Sonic's character arc. I appreciate that Maddie, or Pretzel Lady, gets to be more involved in the movie than the first one, and I think she and Tom have great chemistry. Agent Stone's a fun side character who takes advantage of every scene he's in, and I wonder if he might eventually take up the role as main villain later on in the franchise. I don't think I could review this movie without talking about Jim Carrey's great performance and how he fully embraced his portrayal of Eggman in typical Jim Carrey fashion. If this truly is his last movie, then I think this was the perfect one to end his career on. I know that I've gone over the designs earlier, but I really want to talk about Tails and Knuckles as characters. Before seeing Sonic 2, I decided to do some research about them so that I would have an idea of what to expect, and from what I saw, the sequel really nailed it with their portrayals. For the most part, Knuckles is the character that has a tendency to be flanderized into a dumbass, which is most likely the result of assuming that being naive is the same thing as being stupid. I admire Knuckles' sense of honor, and despite being the main source of humor in the movie, I appreciate that he isn't treated as the butt of jokes. His humor comes from the result of being a naive fish out of water, which feels very similar to Thor in his first movie.
Another!
From the research I did for Tails, he has either been portrayed as too arrogant or too cowardly. Just like Knuckles, Tails is treated with proper respect in the sequel. He's allowed to be a genius without the arrogance and is shown as being scared while pushing on, which allows him to contribute to the story and is shown to be more than just a token adorable character. I really like Sonic's character development in this movie about the responsibility of being a hero, and I love that Donut Lord is the one who gets to give him this version of the Uncle Ben talk.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Even though I didn't grow up with Sonic, I fully admit that seeing Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles teaming up in the third act put a smile on my face. I absolutely love the ending of the movie with all of them playing baseball, which is a nice parallel to when we saw Sonic on the baseball field in the first movie, and shows he no longer has to be alone. There is, however, one thing that I'm on the fence about, and that would have to be that Sonic now refers to Donut Lord as Dad. honestly, I'm not sure what to make of it. I get that there was proper setup in this movie, but it still feels off. This is mainly due to the fact that the first Sonic movie feels more like a buddy comedy and their dynamic was portrayed in more of a friendly manner instead of being father and son. I mean, there is a chance that I'm overthinking this, and I don't by any means hate it, it just feels off.
That wasn't too bad.
From what I heard, the movie is pretty faithful to the Sonic 2 video game. Considering that I have never played the game, I unfortunately cannot confirm nor deny the accuracy of these claims. In my process of doing research for Knuckles, the story did become predictable. With that in mind, it didn't affect how much I enjoyed seeing the movie in theaters and actually allowed me to appreciate how much the filmmakers care about the story and characters involved. The sequel never shies away from its source material and fully embraces the kind of movie it is. If you saw the mid-credit scene, then you'll know that we're supposed to get Shadow in the next movie, and I hope they do him justice. Guys, I don't think I can overstate that we should never take a studio listening to its fans and respecting them for granted. It really means a lot to me, and like I said before, it's what got me into this franchise in the first place. For other studios that are trying to make money off already established IPs, Sonic is the template and the results have been rewarding. Well, those are my thoughts and opinions on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Thanks for watching.